Hey there guys, and welcome back to Factorio Tightening the Belt Megabase Guide. I'm Xterminator, and we're finally back here. So it's been a little while since there was an episode of this. I did just stream this yesterday and uploaded that VOD, but we've done quite a bit, and we are finally ready. So if you've been, waiting, kind of holding off on the series until we start the Megabase, then this is the episode you definitely want to start watching again. Obviously, if you're here, you are watching it, but anyway, because we are starting the Megabase today. So what we've done is we set up an engineering or base building train here, and this has most of the supplies we need. So, inserters, beacons, we don't really need miners, but pipes, power poles, assemblers, furnaces, belts, modules, so on and so forth. And so we've assembled this, and I've hooked it up to the main line, and then come all the way down, extended the main line down, and brought this line over here. And, sorry, I had to yawn. And this is where we're going to do it, because this seemed like a fairly clear area. We cleared out a ton of cliffs, actually. Oh, with the help of a mod. It's, I think it's like cliff deconstruction mod or something. And then we cleared biter bases around here. So hopefully this is enough room. This might actually be kind of pushing it in terms of how much room, but we'll see. So there's all this room we have. And then we're still making modules and such, of course. But what we're going to do today is we're going to go down there and we're going to start laying out the initial steps. So, if you're one of those people who watch this series or is watching the series to figure out, how do you transition to Megabase, this is essentially how you do it. So to kind of just walk through really quick how we got to this point and then what we do now. So this is the method I like to do. There are different ways to do it. One of the alternatives is something we had considered of just slowly expanding off of within the current base you have. I find that a lot more difficult because of the limited space and type of builds you've done already and such. At least in my case, it would be very, very difficult for me to actually turn this base into a Megabase without tearing tons of it up. And at that point, I would just, if I'm going to tear most of the base up, I might as well just go build a different base, right? And the other advantage to doing it the way I'm doing it here is this entire base can still run while we build the actual Megabase. Okay, so if you're having problems, if you want to go to a Megabase stage and you're having problems with how to get there, this is what I find to be the best way, and that's what this whole series is about. I kind of walk you through this base and how we go through these stages. And once you get to this point, it doesn't have to be this scale. It can be smaller, it can be bigger, obviously, different layouts and such. But you have what I call like a bootstrap base, which would be this base. And you don't even have to do as much science as I did. I went a little overboard on the mining prod. Probably I could have stopped way earlier if I wanted to. But so you do some research, get most of the research you need out of the way, and then produce the materials you need. And that's what this base is for. And then really all you need to do at that point, and it's going to seem big, it's really daunting when you haven't done it before, and it's, even for me it's daunting, is you find an area. You need to find an area, obviously, that's clear. It's going to take a lot of room. I found an area. I don't even know if there's going to be enough room, hopefully, but we'll have to see. It was the best one I could find, honestly, out of everywhere we've explored so far. This area maybe would have been good now that I'm looking at it. Great. No, we're not gonna move it all up there. So, I don't know what's over here. This may be good. No, we're going to stay here. So you find an area, you get the materials you need, and then you obviously need to come up with builds, which we've done some of. So, we made our smelters, we made our green circuit build, we did our red circuit build, and those will get us started, because the smelters can obviously be for iron and copper. We do need a steel smelter, which I will work on next, but then we have red circuits and green circuits done, and those are, the next two steps. And gears. We'll need a gear build, but that's pretty simple as well. And the only difference really between these Megabase builds and builds we may have done here is that we're, factoring in and adding in beacons and modules into everything that we can, because, that's, in my mind, pretty much required for Megabase because of how much more compact it makes it, how less entities it is and such. You pretty much have to buy beacon module unless you just don't like running at 60/60 or something. So we're going to start here with iron. Now, I've used an online calculator. You can do this manually, but boy, is it going to be a headache for you. on like a build-to-build basis, you know, I was kind of doing it manually with the bootstrap base. I was going to kind of show you stuff, but I would recommend using some sort of calculator. There's tons of them. There's a Barry Coon, there's Domer, which I'm not really a fan of at all. The one I use is Kirk McDonald. I like this one. It's a little bit complicated, but I like it because it you can, you know, put in how many beacons it's going to use, how many modules it's going to use, a level of assemblers, and then it will actually give you the numbers in belts. And that's why I chose that one. Normally I would actually use Barry Coon because I like the layout and the numbers and such, like how the numbers work and stuff better, but it doesn't give you the numbers in belts. It just gives you the numbers. So then you have to do some manual work to get how many belts that is. Kirk McDonald gives you the number of belts. So I'm going to alt tab here to find this, and for iron we need 64.4 blue belts of iron, and this does factor in with the iron that's going to be needed for steel. So pretty much what we're going to do, we do have a steel build. I thought I did somewhere. Yeah, I think it was this one. So we're going to be doing ore directly to steel because I find that to be best. But even with that, what we can know is that based on the productivity and such like that it's going to be I think like 4.2 or 4.1 belts worth of iron plate that would go into steel to get one blue belt of steel, okay? Even though we are doing ore directly in, I need to figure this out because, you know, the calculator is giving me a total amount of belts. I need to figure out how many are purely iron, like for the bus and such, you know, not that would go into steel because we're not using iron plate for steel directly, okay? So if it's going to take like 4.2 belts per one belt of steel we need, if we look back, and I'm looking here, we need, I believe it's 7.1 belts of steel. Yeah, 7.1 blue belts of steel. So you would multiply that out, and it basically comes to like 29. So 29 of these belts, 29 blue belts of iron plate worth are pretty much what steel would actually take. And since we're not using the plate because we're going directly for more, we can subtract that out, right? So now we're down to 36 belts worth of iron plate we need for everything except steel. Now I also want to send iron plate directly into gears before it even hits the bus, okay? And based on the calculations, you know, all the things the calculator is showing us, we need to send about 6 belts of iron plate to gears. So that means that we need about 30 blue belts of iron plate that go onto the bus. And this is important to figure out because we have a build here, which I've modified the one we made. Here's this one we've made. I've doubled the length and changed some belts around and such so that we can actually get 2 blue belts out of each set of each one of these blueprints, because otherwise we would have been building a ton of these things when they were smaller. So if we can get 2 belts out, we need 30, we need 15 of these stamps for iron, essentially. We could go 16 and do 32 belts, which I may do just because, like, for 32, I think like 32 belt balancer is going to be better than some like 30 belt balancer if we need it and such, and overkill is never really bad. So where do we want to put this? I want to start iron down here because it's going to be more of it, so we have more space kind of over here. And then copper, I'm not sure if it will go next to it. Steel may go next to it. Steel may go up top. I'm not sure. But I think I want to do iron down here. So I want to place these, and then we'll go get the materials. So that's input. This is output. We could do them... Actually, I was going to do them vertically, but looking at how much space we have, it may actually be tempting to do them this way, down. Horizontal, but vertical, if that makes sense, because of how much room we have. I fear that we may hit this water is kind of what I'm afraid of here. We need to fit that many. That may actually be better going this direction. Yeah, because if we do this, let's turn off our bots here, just so I can place these without the bots wanting to do something with them. I want to move this a little bit farther away. We do want to make sure we have room for like belts and routing and all that stuff. So if we place this guy like, I mean, this could come up actually quite a bit. We just don't want to like run into that stone patch. So if this guy went like here, let's just put it there. Let's just say there. Okay. Now I do want to explore down here a little bit, just make sure there's not like water or something here we're gonna hit, because that will kind of debunk the whole plan. So there is some water that's very easily landfillable, this bit here. There's obviously biters, but that's very easy to take care of. Bye-bye, biters. I think this is actually going to be the best plan. Like I said, I was going to do them facing vertically, but go from left to right with the actual builds. But thinking about it, this may actually be better doing it this way. So here's one. So 2, 3, 4. Make sure it's actually all lined up. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And again, we're overlapping the beacons. This is very important that these beacons overlap, because then we're not having double rows of beacons. So that was 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and let's just do 16. Okay, so then that leaves room here for copper and steel if we need to. The steel builds are going to be super long, so those actually... I'm wondering the steel builds maybe should actually be first, because we have more room. No, it's fine. It's fine. So here we go. This is going to be our iron, and this is just for iron. Remember, none of this is going into steel because we're making steel directly from ore. Okay, so let's start with this. Now, if we need to, we can build over the stone patch. That may have been a little too close to it. I'm not sure. But let's go ahead. What we're going to do is we're going to make some chests. We're going to dump off our inventory, pretty much all of it. Pretty much everything, not our roboports. Those are important. Let's go ahead and take assemblers. Those... I obviously want the belt stuff. That's kind of important. We have that. This is actually using fast inserters. That build, it doesn't need stack inserters, I think, so I just didn't make it with them. And that should be about it. Power poles. We need power poles for sure. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab some furnaces. Let's just grab a ton of belt here. We're gonna need a ton of belt. Okay, that's good for now. Inserters. Only 2 of these. I really should probably... Most of our stuff is going to use stack inserters. I suppose we could exchange these for stack inserters, but that's a huge pain right now. Or maybe did they use stack inserters? They may have. No, they didn't. I'm actually wondering if fast inserters are even fast enough, dude. Did I do this wrong? I mean, we have these builds going. Pretty sure fast inserters are quick enough. I think we need to replace some of these stack inserter things with fast inserter rows. Let's just grab all the beacons because it's going to take a bajillion of them. Let's just grab like a row of this. And then let's just grab like half these and however many of these we can take. That's actually a little bit excessive on the prods. Okay, so we have pretty much a whole inventory here. And we're going to go down. I probably should have made those stack inserters. Can you, you can upgrade plan stuff, can't you? Can you you should be able to upgrade plan, so what we could do is I wonder, can you upgrade plan blueprints? I don't know. So if we go, like, from here, well, not that one. Go from here to here. Does this let us upgrade plan blueprints? No. Okay. Well, it does, but not like blueprints here. It doesn't. I dumped all my bots out, you idiot. I could upgrade plan the blueprint itself, but it's easy enough. We can place the normals and then just go back with the upgrade planner and upgrade to stacks. Like, it won't be that bad. Let's go ahead. Can I get rid of? I kind of need all of this. Let's get rid of that and that. I think I only had like 1 stack of bots or something. Oh no, we did. We had like 70. All right. So we'll go down and I mean this is pretty much what it is, guys. So you know we come up with the builds, we figure out an area to put them, we kind of plan out where we want them, and then we start placing them. And you know after this is going to be copper and then steel, and you kind of just go in like order of you know what comes first. So you know you need to make your smelters first because that's going to be step 1. You need your smelters to do anything. Then you're going to want to put your circuits down, and then you know, you're going to want to do whatever comes after circuits, maybe gears, or maybe do gears before circuits, and then red circuits, and then science, and all that. I mean, obviously some of it is due to just, like, personal preference, like where you want maybe your circuit builds compared to your science builds. You know, maybe you want your science builds to actually come... Well, let's see, this is where it gets, like, a little difficult because of, like, what sciences need which things, you know? Like... You can't just put all your science before circuits because then you're going to have stuff like going backwards. But then, you know, some science, like, doesn't require red circuits until way down the line. So, you know, that's where, you know, it's going to come in a little bit with, like, how you want to plan things out. And I haven't quite figured that out yet. You know, that just requires some thinking and kind of figuring out how you want things actually laid out. And just to kind of discuss what we did here really quick with these smelters, we just arranged it basically so that most of these inserters are actually in pairs like this, opposed to the like centered here. Some of them are kind of off due to how we had to do this, but we're feeding in now 2 belts. This one is just feeds this, and then the second ore belt here goes underground. And when this one ends, this one just comes out from underground and turns over here for another set of the build. And then this one is our output. We don't obviously need 2 outputs from the get-go. So this is here, and then this is our second output, and the first output turns and goes underground underneath, and then spits out both of them here. So, you know, that just allows, I mean, sure, the build's longer, but even as it is, this thing's pretty tall, like top to bottom. So we would have had to do double this amount of them had I not done 2 belts output. All right, so now this is going to take a little bit, but copper is probably going to go... well, not really. We really do probably want... I was going to say, maybe we want steel next to iron, but it doesn't have to be. Again, this comes down to personal preference. Like, if we want all of our iron trains, like unload trains, coming in the same area, then we do want steel by our iron. But if you want like just a very, like if you want a specific area just solely for iron ore to come in for steel, you could put your steel under your copper, because here we're going to have iron ore delivered, and we'd have copper, and then if we did steel below, we'd have more iron trains come down just for steel. Or like I said, you could put steel next to this and then just have all your iron trains here and all your copper trains below that. I'm kind of inclined to put the steel builds next. It's going to be a little funny because the steel builds are, well, 1, a different build, and then 2, much longer than these. So it's going to look a little bit weird because it's going to like stick out way farther here in the middle, which actually would cause some issues with routing the copper, because the copper would then have to go like all like the length of the steel and then around. So I think we actually do want to put steel underneath the copper. And then with copper, it gets kind of tricky because, you know, I want to feed, because most of the, I don't know if I should say most, but a lot of the copper goes straight towards circuits. And so I want to do kind of like I'm going to do with gears. I want to send the copper belts needed for circuits just directly to circuits without them going on the bus first, you know? So we're going to have to figure out kind of where we want to do circuits and such, because, you know, that's going to have a pretty big impact with how we route these belts. These poor bots, man. I do not have near enough charging for this. Oh dear. Oh dearie dear. All right, this helps a little bit. Little trick, if you just right click, I'm just holding right click, and you can pick the bots out of the air and they essentially don't have to charge because it picks them up and then like they like instantly charge and then you can deploy them again. So we need furnaces. We did not get near enough furnaces. I mean, this is a lot. This thing takes 28 furnaces and we put how many? 16 down. So yeah, that's like over 300 furnaces. So I'll pick up all this litter on the ground here. Looks like some nuking went on here. Oh, we do have this copper, which, you know, it's kind of annoying because, yeah, it's a little bit annoying because we, I guess I didn't filter this. It's a little bit annoying because maybe I should have done copper first. I mean, I still can't. Like, that's the nice thing about these smelters, is they're not like set to something specific. I mean, some of these could be copper. I'd have to recount, but like if I want copper first, these certainly could just be copper, some of them. So we won't need as much as we do iron. But some of these could be copper, and then we could just, you know, do the 16 for iron after that. I'm just thinking, because, you know, we do want to use these local patches. So if copper's here, if we put copper underneath, that's going to be kind of a pain to like route. So, in fact, all these bots work. Let me look here really quick. How many belts of copper? So we need 35 belts of copper. That's a lot. That's, and all those need to actually be existing, right? Unlike the iron. So, let's just say 36, round up. 35.7 is what it says. 36. So, we would need, you know, however many it is, 18. We need 18 rows, 18 columns of this. Rows of this, so that we actually, if this were copper, we'd actually need to add 2 more additional ones onto this. And I don't know how many, obviously we can't fit like 30 belts between here, but this wouldn't obviously support 30 belts. This may support like 6 belts, 8 belts, maybe. I doubt it. Full belts, and these do actually need to be full belts. Like, I don't know, the problem with, yeah, I mean, yeah, we could do that, I suppose. Let's just place the rest of these beacons, get down what we can here at least. Yeah, I need to put a ton more fast inserters on that train. I had forgotten these smelters take those. Like I said, pretty much all the other builds use stacks, but for some silly reason, I built these. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to do some thinking, guys, on if I want this to be copper, and then iron below that, and then steel below that, or how I want to do this. I mean, we can fit quite a few belts between here. Not 30, I don't think, but maybe like 15, 20, which this patch can't support anyway. The iron one can support quite a lot. It's going to be really annoying putting miners on. That's actually one of the most annoying ones to put miners on. It's like, because like, what are you supposed to do here? I think horizontal is almost going to be the best bet. But I think that's going to do it for this episode, guys. So finally we're starting the Megabase. We just got to build up the materials, build the builds, and such like that. I'm very excited. I'm so happy to finally be at this stage. And once we get the materials and kind of get on a roll of stuff, I think it's going to go quicker than we might think. Actually, most of the challenge is just going to be like laying, like routing stuff, like figuring out where we want the actual builds and then routing the belts to them. But other than that, it's going really well. I'm really happy. Hope you guys are enjoying. I hope you look forward to more episodes. You know, this is I guess what a lot of you tuned in for, is the actual Megabase stuff, which we're starting. And yeah, until next episode, thank you so much for watching. If you have any thoughts or anything else, suggestions, leave down below. But until next time, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.